from the rupee, that looks pretty flat, and the Nifty as well opening in the green. But I think ONGC is the one that will be up and away. Let's just look at which stocks are in the green. Okay, Yes Bank is actually showing some recovery after yesterday's fall. Cipla, expectedly, Anuj has been alluding to it, and that is also up about 1.2%. Indiabulls actually has come back. ONGC is only fourth in the list of gainers. But let's see how things pan out once trading starts. Any other stocks?
MMTC and STC both are opening circuit up. MMTC 20% and STC 10%. There are merger synergies, of course, so that's working for them. Torrent Power is up 10% in pre-open. The MTech Group stocks continue to look up. Hindustan Copper, so the PSU space clearly is the one where you would see some rally, and of course the circuit-to-circuit stock Graphite is up another 5%. So that's been
both the Graphite actually, HEG and Graphite.
Yes, and you know, on the Bajaj Finance for 3% higher on that. I don't know if yesterday was pretty interesting. We were discussing this yesterday, Surabhi, that you know, maybe you know, the intraday, those are the best times to buy stocks like Bajaj Finance, but you know, obviously then you develop cold feet. But frankly, ONGC could be the stock to watch out for, 3% higher right now.
A couple of very interesting result reactions. Let's see if this is really the thumbs up that the market gives these stocks when we actually start off trade. Torrent Power, AstraZeneca has seen a rank improvement in its operational performance. EBITDA and EBITDA margins have surged. So some of these stocks are quite excited. Bharat Seats, again, a great set of numbers coming in. So good earnings for sure. Whether the prices will look similar to where they are in the pre-open, we don't know. But definitely worth keeping on our radar. So on that note, let's move forward with some trading ideas as well. VK Sharma of HDFC Securities joins us this morning. Good morning, VK. Good to have you in the studios.
Good morning.
So let's start with you know, your overall call. If you have a trade on the index, specifically either the Nifty or the Nifty Bank for the time being?
I have a perennial Nifty long call in the markets, essentially because markets love to climb wall of worries, and the immediate wall of worry that worries the market, a particular segment is Gujarat elections. We're very comfortable they'll coast through with better numbers, no issues at all. So you go out and buy the markets before the results, the second and third quarter results take you forward. So I think it's buy now and then sell later.
Okay. Vinod, good morning. So let's discuss individual stocks. Then two stocks which have shown momentum, Arvind and Tata Global.
Yes, both the stocks, incidentally, I happen to hold in odd lots in the physical form. So Arvind is a stock in which we have seen 46% OI being added, and 11% the stock is up in the current series. Yesterday the stock didn't do well, but mind you, a day before that it moved up around 12%. There's also a stock in which the results come out tomorrow, and we are not usually recommending stocks where there is a result awaited. But the fact that there could be an announcement coming in and that it might have to do with the hiving of the brand business which is, I suppose, of which I have talked on this channel earlier also. So I think that could be the trigger. So I'm buying the 450 call at around 18 rupees, stop loss at 14 and a target of around 28. The other stock is Tata Global, a stock which is up 92% so far in the current year, 82% till about September, and the 72% till about September. And October 30th I had given a call in which 50% earnings were made on the premium that I had suggested. And I think it's time now to look at the stock all over again. I am suggesting to buy the 240 call at 7.5, stop loss at 5 and a target around 13 here.
Sun TV is actually doing very well, and even this morning in the pre-opening I thought I saw a fairly strong rally in Sun TV.
Yes.
You would go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, there's a stock which is technically also doing well. OI has been added, almost 4% in the series, not much, but the fact is that the stock moves up technically as well as OI being added. I'm buying the 920 call at around 33, stop loss at 22 and 25 and a target of around 50, which is almost 50% return in this year.
And escorts, I don't think you've
no, escorts have dropped it because I took Arvind.
Okay.
So I think it is best to give not more than 5 stocks. So I've taken Arvind. And another stock that we left out is probably Apollo Tyres.
Yes.
So that is a stock in which no IO was added, but stock went up by 3%. But essentially, this is a stock which has started moving up, and I'm buying the 250 call at around 6.7, target stop loss at 5 and target around 10. But the stock that I like, Lata, is more of NMDC. This is a stock obviously it fits in the current theme of PSUs.
Metals and PSUs, yes.
So I am buying this stock. I'm suggesting to buy the 135 call at 4.6, stop loss at 3 and target around 8. The reason is that the stock has now moved up out of the 5-day moving average and after consolidation. So if at all something you have to buy in the open at the current prices, then this is what I would suggest for a trader.
Okay, Vinod, thanks a lot for all
My
those
pleasure.
trading ideas. Prakash, a word on Infibeam and whether it's a stock which, of course, on fundamentals, 100 times price to earnings, you can't recommend, but something is happening here. So, how would you approach it?
No, so again, this is under ownership that leads to these kind of stellar moves without liquidity or supply coming even at higher levels. That's a very classic symptom. We've seen that with Indiabulls Ventures. We've seen it with some of the other names as well. So I would suggest if somebody has the stock, continue holding it. Put a trailing stop, till the news is out or till it's vindicated. But don't rely on just the news flow to buy these kind of stocks, because fundamentals. So there needs to be a semblance of reasonability in buying the fundamentals as well. I mean, if the fundamentals were, let's say, at 50 times and then there was a track record where the growth was, PEG was comfortable, I would probably have still gone out and say, okay, go ahead and buy a little bit. But here it's a binary trade. I mean, you could lose all your money and you could gain about 50-60%. But there are much better risk-reward opportunities, Anuj, in the market.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm asking you. If you can parse the results. I mean, I don't know how many of them you looked at. Thomas Cook looked weak. Gujarat Gas looked weak. KEC looked strong. Torrent looked very strong.
Yeah,
so tell us, I mean, in the last 48 hours, if anything stood out.
Out of the numbers, something which was supposedly weak, but still I like is REC.
Really?
I'll tell you now, what's gone wrong with REC this quarter, I think it's a margin softness that everybody is worried about. There is a little bit of a question on asset repricing, on loan repricing, which they were to clarify, which they haven't last time. That howler came of recognition of some of the loans and all. So that is probably a little bit of a soft headwind. But given the dividend yield, Lata, given the book value strength that it has, and given the fact that now banks with the fresh infusion in the PSU banks, they're not going to go out and compete with the RECs. There are other areas that they want to play catch up on, like housing finance and other things. So,
but is there so much money in power anyway?
No. So power, in fact, is on its way up. You look at GIPCL numbers. Now, the numbers, after a long time, GIPCL, which has always been very tepid, has started talking about something which is, the new PPAs that they would be signing with the GUVNL and all, which are in the pipeline. They're talking about very good margins. So my sense is REC and PFC both, but REC is better because the government's focus also ties in with the kind of expansion that they're talking about. I think everything's working closely together. So this is a stock that could kind of get re-rated in a little bit of a lumpy fashion.
Since we're on REC, just want to point out, I was reading one of these inputs in the papers today that apparently they could tie up with the railways now for a mega complete electrification project of the entire railway network. I mean, it's up in the air, so if it happens, then I guess more business for REC.
Let's do one thing. The pre-open rates have settled and it looks like we could have a mid-cap day at least for starters. The mid-cap index is up 0.5%, advanced decline settling at about 4:1. The Nifty 13 points short of yesterday's high, 10,477, and that's where the SGX and the Nifty dichotomy is. The premium is quite high on Nifty futures, something Ashwini was alluding to. So Ashwini, you maintain that around 10,500 you would look to short. That would be your first trade, and what would be your 9-10 call?
See, the markets are probably going to open very close to yesterday's high. So what you want to see is that the longs get trapped and just intraday there is a bit of a collapse again. But overall, individual stocks, I think HPCL you can sell with a stop of 439, target of 415. That had a down day yesterday, so there could be follow through on the downside.
Okay. Well, let's just revise what our commodity cues are. Manisha Gupta is joined again. Manisha, you updated us on crude. Other action?
Well, it has been the metal space which really has been buzzing on the higher side. So if you look at the iron ore prices, they gained 5% yesterday and are trading 3.5% higher in the Shanghai markets right now. The steel prices as well gained 6% yesterday. That one is up 1.5% right now. And the markets really are looking at the kind of crackdown that we have still come in more cities, more provinces in China now as the weather worsens. And in any case, from 1st of November, there was a target of cutting down on output, excess supplies, etc., closing down of smelters, and those numbers now seem to be coming in. China is getting aggressive. They are sending out inspection teams as well to check on that, and that is getting its way into the prices. But not just the ferrous metals. If you look at the non-ferrous space as well, you have the copper and nickel as your top gainers there. Nickel prices especially, they gained 10% in the previous week and have gained 2% already in this week as well. Copper also, with nearly 27% gains in this year, is headed for its biggest yearly gain in last 7 years. So these are the few of metals which really are buzzing in Asia right now.
Okay. Well, that'll have a positive hue on Indian stocks as well. Thank you very much, Manisha, for joining us. As Anuj pointed out, looks more like a mid-cap day and certainly looks like a PSU day as well. Sudarshan, is there any of the PSU stocks that you will want to play at all? I mean, MMTC, STC, of course, have been the ones that are leading the rally, but they're not the only ones.
Well, the other one was what we just discussed, I think, NMDC, which has a rally in the offing for other reasons too.
Yes.
And Gujarat State Petronet, which is a PSU from Gujarat, is probably ripe for a big rally again.
Okay, yeah. Ashwini, you were also talking about, market factoring in some big news on these PSUs. I think MMTC was your intraday call as well, if I'm not wrong. How would you approach this space now, the non-oil PSUs, and any particular picks?
See, STC, Hind Copper, because it has some sort of metal stories also. See, the market will factor in all kinds of stories, and probably for the next 2-3 months, because we are short of ideas, so all kinds of oil-related plays and PSUs, they are likely to run up. I would think if you get the opportunity, they are still biased because these guys have been dead for so long that they can easily go up 50-75% without any news, just on the hope of something happening. So this is where people should take fresh exposure.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Ashwini. Still leaves about 1.5 minutes for the markets to open. Prakash, any other stocks that stood out for you in terms of, say, Thomas Cook or KEC, or even any of the road contractors? The NHAI news had disturbed some of them a bit, and yet Bharatmala should logically be positive. Anything in the infra space that you would look at?
No, of course, that's one of the most promising pockets, and this kind of news breaks at times give you the opportunity to buy into something which otherwise is in a secular up move. So I think look at how IRB is quietly moved right from 200 to almost 250. And
it's not in that NHAI list of...
and apart from that, people haven't been looking at some of these names for a while, so there'll be a major comeback of sorts, and you'll certainly find all over the news day. NCC continues to be one of my top bets there, because they are now poised to handle a lot of complex construction work. Not just roads. In fact, they've got out of roads. And Bharatmala, by the way, is much more than just roads.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and that's where the promise lies. So I think the players who have specializations and an execution track record, who are light on the balance sheet, they are the ones who will benefit.
Like NCC, you mean?
NCC definitely qualifies for that.
All right. Thank you very much, Prakash, for being with us throughout.